Hello, good morning all. So, as I have told to the last lecture, we are going to take the very basic content of our syllabus, but it is not part of syllabus, but it is related to syllabus. So, let's continue with the finite element analysis basics, which is most important part as a design engineer, and we have to go for it. So, let's start with the basic element. So for that purpose, I will share my screen. So you can download the PPT from SlideShare itself. It will be available to you. Just I'm opening the PPT in PDF format. So here, introduction to finite element analysis. So let me tell you what is first finite element analysis. See, if any chalk is there and we are rubbing that chalk, then it will be having very small particles, and that particles which we can't count. And if any bench is there, then on the bench itself the wood is there, and wood is also having large number of particles. So by combining that, by adhering together, that wood is made, and by combining all the elements together, that bench is made or chalk is made. Why I am telling this example? Because this is classroom example, and which is better to understand to you. Otherwise, you can take any of the example which is aside you, which is made up of large number of elements. But that elements we can't count with a simple calculation or by manual thing. Means the dust particles of the chalk I can't count. So for that purpose, I have to divide that chalk into some parts. That is, that part may be square, that part may be triangle, right? So triangle area we know, the circle area we know. So we can divide given object or given chalk into known number of finite element, and that chalk we can go for again analyzing. If we can combine it, if we are going to combine the chalk with some cubes, then it is possible, and calculations of that cube is also easy than that of counting every particle of the chalk. So we have to divide the chalk into number of known elements. That known elements are nothing but finite. Infinite elements means what? The chalk is having infinite number of particles. That are infinite elements. And we have to convert the chalk into number of finite elements, that is known elements. So we have to divide the chalk into number of known elements, that is by rectangle or cube or triangle or pyramid or whatever it may be, we have to divide. So this division of large number of known elements is nothing but finite element analysis. Okay. In other language, I will tell the actual definition of finite element analysis, that is discretization of given continuum into number of finite element is called as finite element analysis. So discretization means dividing the number of discretization means dividing the given continuum means any object into number of known finite element is called as finite element analysis. So which we are going to do. In other language I will tell to understand you, because we are preferring all quite Marathi. So I will tell सिंपल चॉक आहे आणि सिंपल चॉक मध्ये आपल्याला खूप सारे पार्टिकल्स निघतात आणि ते पार्टिकल्स आपण काउंट करू शकत नाही. तर ते काउंट करायसाठी आपण त्या चॉकला आपण क्यूब्स किंवा रेक्टँगल मध्ये डिवाइड करू शकतो. सो हे क्यूब्स किंवा रेक्टँगल मध्ये जे डिवाइड आपण करतोय यालाच आपण फायनाइट एलिमेंट अनालिसिस म्हणतो. ठीक आहे. तर त्याच्यामध्ये आपण कशा पद्धतीने डिवाइड करायचं, काय डिवाइड करायचं ते आपण नंतर बघू. दॅट इज द डीप पार्ट. बट मला वाटतं की आता तुम्हाला ह्या कन्सेप्ट कळायला हव्यात. सो आय एक्सप्लेन इट इन इंग्लिश बिफोर अँड दोज हू कुडंट अंडरस्टँड बेटर, सो आय हॅव सिम्प्लिफाईड इन मराठी. सो आपण पुढे जाऊया. लेट्स मूव्ह अहेड. So what is finite element analysis? As I have told, that is the finite element method is a numerical technique for finding approximate solution to the boundary value problem for partial differential equation. So partial differential equation you have learned in NMO 5th and 6th chapter. So 5th and 6th unit you have learned about partial differential equation, but some complex partial differential equations are there whose solution we can't give through manual calculation. So for that purpose, finite element analysis is important. So it is a numerical technique for finding approximate solution. So just now I have told that is it is a numerical solution. So the finite element method softwares I am going to also discuss with you later. So I will tell later it. Then next one, in simple terms, FEM is a method for dividing up a very complicated problem into small elements that can be solved in relation to each other. Okay, so the same thing I have explained before, that is dividing the given object into number of small elements. That elements count should be known to us. Then it is useful for problem with complicated geometries, loadings and materials properties where analytical solutions cannot be obtained. See, I will show with the help of some diagram. So if any square object is there, I can't draw clearly, but consider it as a square object. So for square, we can calculate the area. For square, we can calculate the everything, means everything related to square, means we can calculate its side by knowing its area. If we the area is known to us, we can calculate its side. But the shape is like this, which is complicated, or 3D shape like this. We can't calculate it. So we have to divide these objects into number of known elements. So we have to we can use the FEA method for that. Okay, now I will close it. Now I will move towards next slide. Okay, now I will move towards next slide. That is how does finite element analysis work? FEA uses a complex system of points called as nodes, which make a grid called as mesh. So I will let you know at the time of software, but FEA is nothing but meshing. In simple language, in practical language, when you will be working as an analyst in any company, you will be not asked for do FEA of this thing. No, they will ask meshing is done or not. So meshing is nothing but the division of given continuum into small number of finite elements. So which is the same. So in practical language, we can call it as a mesh, and in theoretical language, we are calling it as a finite element analysis. So FEA uses a complex system of points called as node. So what is node? What is element? That I will let you know in the next session, because to know what is node, what is element, you should know first type of element and how we are going to divide the given continuum into number of finite elements. The next point is this is mesh program to contain the material and structural properties which defines how structure will react to certain loading conditions. Means if any chair is there, if I am going to sit on the chair, then that chair is made up of plastic. So if my weight, average weight of person is 65 to 70 kg or above 80, up to 80 kg, the common man weight is there. So that person, that chair can bear that weight. But if the material of plastic changed to very thin glass, or that material is made up of the powder and that are adhered together with some bonding, but that is very heavy, that is having very very loose contact, then that chalk powder chair will be failed for any condition. But the plastic chair is there, then it will not fail. If our forks of our bike are made up of gold, then the bike will run. But due to ductility of that gold, that tire will compress and the bike will fail or tire will fail, because it is not made, the material is not made for the things to run on the road. So we have to choose the clear material. In other language, those who couldn't understand, I will explain in Marathi itself. That is, जर समजा एखादी चेअर असेल आणि चेअर जर समजा प्लास्टिकची बनलेली असेल, तर 70-80 किलोचा वजनाचा माणूस त्याच्यावर आरामात बसू शकतो. पण आपण चॉक पावडर यूज केली, ज्या पद्धतीने आपला चॉक बनला जातो, तर त्या पद्धतीने आपण जर त्याच पद्धतीची एखादी चेअर बनवली, तर ती चेअर, त्या चेअरवरती माणूस बसला तर ऑटोमॅटिकली ती चेअर तुटून जाणार आहे. कारण सिंपल आपण हातानं सुद्धा आपण ते चॉकचे तुकडे करू शकतो. तर त्या चॉकच्या मटेरियल पासून बनलेली अधेअर, त्या पद्धतीने अधेअर केलेली जर एखादी चेअर असेल तर ती इझिली फेल होईल. किंवा बाईकचे जे फोक्स आहेत, ते फोक्स जर आपण सोन्याचे बनवले तर ते कदाचित तुटू शकतील. सो फॉर दॅट पर्पज वी हॅव टू चूज द प्रॉपर मटेरियल. त्यासाठी आपल्याला काय करावं लागतं, तर एक सपोज चेअर आहे, इमॅजिन तुमच्या समोर चेअर आहे आणि चेअरवरती तुम्ही बसलेले आहेत. तर चेअरवरती तुम्ही बसलेले असाल समजा, तर तुमच्या वेटच्या इक्विव्हॅलंट एक 1 पॉइंट लोड आपण त्याला लावणार, जे की आपण सॉम मध्ये शिकलेलो आहे की युनिफॉर्म डिस्ट्रीब्युटेड लोड किंवा युनिफॉर्म व्हॅरिंग लोड आपण चेअरवर बसल्यावरती होऊ शकतो, अकॉर्डिंग टू लोडिंग कंडिशन अँड सरफेस ऑफ द चेअर. पण जर समजा आपण कन्सिडर केलं की तो लोड एका पॉइंट वरती ऍक्ट होतोय, तर त्या पॉइंट लोड मुळे सुद्धा आपण कन्सिडर करू शकतो की हा लोड जो आहे तो हा लोड हा पॉइंट वरतीच त्या लागलेला आहे आणि तो लोड 70 ते 80 किलो आहे आणि ती चेअर त्या माणसाचं वेट बिअर करू शकते. सो ते आपण प्रोग्रामिंग करून करू शकतो ANSYS मध्ये किंवा अदर सॉफ्टवेअर्स मध्ये, किंवा आपण मॉडेलिंग करून करू शकतो. नंतर नेक्स्ट वन, nodes are assigned at a certain density throughout the material depending on anticipated stress levels of particular area. Now, nodes are assigned at a certain density means what? Material density should be there. Material should be dense enough to sustain the given loading condition. जर समजा मटेरियल खूप स्कॅटर्ड असेल तर उपयोग नाहीये. जर समजा आपण मटेरियलचे जे पार्टिकल्स आहेत ते खूप लांब लांब असतील एकमेकाच्या आणि अधेअर्ड नसतील बरोबर, तर फॉर एक्झाम्पल एखादं नेट आहे, आपण व्हॉलीबॉल वगैरे खेळताना नेट वापरतो, तर नेट वापरतो तर त्या नेटमध्ये जे डायमंड शेप्स असतात, ते डायमंड शेप्स एकमेकाला आधेर नाही आहेत. इन्स्टेड ऑफ दॅट सिम्पल क्लोथ, आपण सिम्पल क्लोथ घेतलं तर सगळं एकमेकाला आधेर्ड आहे, पण डायमंड शेप्स म्हणजे थोडंसं स्कॅटर्ड होतं. पण त्यामध्ये काय काय होतं की जर समजा आपण त्याच साईजचा त्याच थिकनेसचा एखादा कपडा घेतला तर तो फाटण्याची शक्यता कमी आहे. पण नेटवरती जर समजा आपण जास्तीत जास्त लोड दिला तर कदाचित ते नेट फाटण्याची पण शक्यता आहे एक पर्टिक्युलर पिरियड नंतर. सो आपल्याला काय करायला लागेल की त्याच्यामध्ये ते मटेरियल जे आहे ते तेवढं डेन्स आहे. हे साधं एक्झाम्पल झालं. यू कॅन टेक मेनी मोर एक्झाम्पल्स which you can imagine. Region which will receive large amount of stress usually have a higher node density than those which experience little or no stress. The same point. Points of interest may consist of fracture point of previously tested material, fillets, corners, complex details, and high stress areas. आता समजा जर शार्प कॉर्नर असेल एखाद्या गोष्टीला, फॉर एक्झाम्पल, तर शार्प कॉर्नर असेल तर शार्प कॉर्नर इझिली फेल होणार आहे, बरोबर. पण त्या ठिकाणी जर फिलेट असेल तर ती फिलेट कमी फेल होईल. आता समजा जर एखादी प्लेन प्लेट असेल प्लेट असेल तर प्लेटला आपण जर काही लोड लावला तर ती प्लेट फेल होणार नाही. सिंपल प्लेट घेतली आपण, रेक्टँग्युलर साईजची शेपची प्लेट घेतली आणि त्याच्यामध्ये जर आपण काही लोड लावला तर ती प्लेट फेल होणार नाही. पण त्या प्लेटच्या मध्येच जर समजा आपण एक होल पाडलं तर काही स्पेस त्याच्या होलच्या भोवती पण येईल. सो त्यामुळे आपल्याला ते मटेरियल, त्याची साईज किंवा त्याचे स्पेसिफिकेशन आणि त्याचा शेप हे इम्पॉर्टंट आहे ह्याच्यामध्ये, स्ट्रेस एरियाज मध्ये. द मेश act like a spider web. The next point, the mesh act like a spider web in that from each node there extends a mesh element to each of adjacent nodes. स्पायडर वेब आपण जस्ट कोळ्याचं जाळं बघतो की एकमेकाला विणलेलं असतं, एकमेकाला कनेक्टेड असतात सगळी गोष्टी. जसं की मी आता सांगितलं की व्हॉलीबॉल खेळतानाचं जे नेट आहे ते नेट एकमेकाला कनेक्टेड असतं. सो ते कनेक्टेड असतं म्हणजे डायमंड शेप जर असतील समजा किंवा स्क्वेअर शेप जर असतील तर ते स्क्वेअर शेप असतील किंवा डायमंड शेप असतील तर ते एकमेकाला कनेक्टेड आहेत. प्रत्येक स्क्वेअर शेप हा प्रत्येक दुसऱ्या स्क्वेअर शेपला किंवा प्रत्येक रेक्टँग्युलर एनी शेप ऑफ दॅट व्हॉलीबॉल नेट इज कनेक्टेड टू अदर रेक्टँगल ऑफ दॅट व्हॉलीबॉल शेप. सो त्याच्यामध्ये ऍडजस्टंट कनेक्टिव्हिटी असते. दिस शेप ऑफ वेक्टर इज दॅट what carries the material properties to the object creating many elements. सो त्याच्यामध्ये जे स्क्वेअर आहेत दॅट इज कॉल्ड एज इलेमेंट आणि स्क्वेअरच्या साईडचे जे 4 पॉइंट्स आहेत ज्या पॉइंट्सना जोडून आपण स्क्वेअर बनवतो किंवा रेक्टँगल बनवतो त्या 4 पॉइंट्सना आपण नोड म्हणतो. आय विल लेट यू नो at the time of next lecture in detail. Now, type of engineering analysis. The first one is structural analysis. Structural analysis is consist of linear and non-linear models. Linear models use simple parameters and assume that the material is not plastically deformed. Non-linear models consist of stressing the material past to elastic capabilities. The stresses in the material then vary with amount of deformation. See, in this figure it is shown the stress analysis and this is structural analysis. If any structure is there, means what? If we are not considering any thermal condition or any other condition, only structure condition, means the chair is there, we are not going to consider any kind of room temperature, only chair is there, we are going to apply the fixed support to chair and we are going to apply the load on the chair where we are sitting. So that will be our loading condition for structural analysis. Vibration analysis. It is used to test the material against random vibrations, shock and impact. Each of these incidences may act on natural vibrational frequency of the material, which in turn may cause resonance and subsequent failure. See, this is the bridge which is shown. So we can model a bridge. Actually, civil engineering people can model this better. But if you want, we can model also. So this is the bridge structure which you are looking now. So in that bridge structure, where the vibrations are occurring, we can give the same kind of vibration loading conditions to the bridge which we have modeled through software, and we can get the actual idea how the bridge will react when such kind of loads will be there. If that bridge is going to fail with some small load, then the material is faulty. If then we have to check the modeling of the bridge. We have to check, there are a lot of parameters where we can change the things, its size, its shape, its material used, then its loading conditions, and maybe some meshing faults will be there. Means we might not have divided the given object, that is given bridge, into number of small finite elements. See, the number of small finite elements will be more, it's called as fine mesh, and if the number of elements are less, then it is called as coarse mesh. So I will let you know at the time of meshing. This is very basic concept which I am telling now. Next one, fatigue analysis. As we know, fatigue analysis helps designer to predict the life of a material or a structure by showing effects of a cyclic loading on the specimen. Such analysis can show the areas where crack propagation is most likely to occur. Failure due to fatigue may also show the damage of tolerance of the material. So there is no necessary to see this diagram. I am having my own practical example. One Corex process is there. When I was in industry, I had gone through one project of Jindal steel work, and in that one process is there, iron making process. That is, Corex process is nothing but iron making process itself. So in that process, the duct was moving from its original position and some cracks were developed. So I was about to find the causes of that duct movement. So I was finding causes. I have started investigating, but at last I found that there are some pressure fluctuations in that duct, and that duct is 2 meter, having here about 2 meter diameter, very huge duct. So that duct is moving from its original position and some cracks are developed due to the pressure fluctuations, means due to the cyclic loading. Though, so for such a kind of thing, we can go for fatigue analysis also. Now next one, heat transfer analysis. Heat transfer analysis model the conductivity or thermal fluid models the conductivity or thermal fluid dynamics of the material or structure. This may consist of steady state or transient transfer. Steady state transfer refers to constant thermal properties in the material that yield linear heat diffusion. Okay, so thermal analysis is related to only thermal things. I didn't say before that in structural, I didn't say any kind of temperature I am going to apply. But in thermal, we have to apply the temperature thing. We have to apply heat flux. We have to apply the heat exchange between the. We have to see the heat, how the heat is exchange is done between the room inside and outside. That is the condition of civil engineer. But if you want to check about anything, that is, if any rod is there, we have to check the rod for the heat conduction, how the heat conduction takes place from one end of the rod to the other end of the rod, that we can go for heat transfer analysis. How can FEM help the design engineer? The FEM offers many important advantages to the design engineer. It is easily applied to complex, irregular shaped objects composed of several different materials and having complex boundary conditions, as I have explained before. Applicable to steady state, time dependent, and eigenvalue problems. Applicable to linear and non-linear problems. One method can solve wide variety of problems, including problems in solid mechanics, fluid mechanics, chemical reactions, electromagnetics, biomechanics, heat transfer, and acoustics, to name a few. So there is a very, very large scope for this kind of analysis. So if you are entering as an analyst in the FEA field, then you have to be updated for any kind of knowledge related to design. You have to know the softwares related to it. How FEM can help the design organization. Now, about design engineer I have discussed. Now, how can the FEM help the design organization? That is, reduce testing and redesign costs, thereby shortening the product development time. Means what? If any part we have to manufacture, suppose we have to manufacture, suppose a chair. आपल्याला चेअर बनवायची. जर आपल्याला चेअर बनवायची तर डायरेक्ट आपण चेअर बनवायला घ्यायची का? तर नाही, चेअरची डायमेन्शन्स वगैरे बनवली आणि मॅन्युफॅक्चर केली. ठीक आहे, झाली पण मॅन्युफॅक्चर. पण ती मॅन्युफॅक्चर झाल्यानंतर नंतर कळलं की इथं काहीतरी पार्ट तुटतोय किंवा ह्याचं काहीतरी इथं बेंडिंग होतंय, इथं काहीतरी वेगळंच फेल्युअर येतंय, तर आपल्याला नंतर कळतं मॅन्युफॅक्चर केल्यानंतर. पण जर समजा आपण जर हीच चेअर आधी मॉडेल बनवलं, त्याच्यामध्ये मॉडेलचे स्पेसिफिकेशन दिले, त्याचा अनालिसिस केला प्रॉपरली, आणि अनालिसिस करून जर आपण ही चेअर व्यवस्थित आधी मॉडेल अप्रूव्ह केलं, त्याच्या फेल्युअर अनालिसिस केले आणि मग त्यानंतर ही मॉडेल मॅन्युफॅक्चर केली, तर आपल्याला नंबर ऑफ इटरेशन्स वाचतात आणि त्याच्यामध्ये कॉस्ट, जी मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग कॉस्ट आहे आणि मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग करणारा जो वेळ आहे तो यात वाचतो. आयडेंटिफाय इश्यूज डिझाईन बिफोर टूलिंग इज कमिटेड. येस, ॲज आय एक्सप्लेन बिफोर. Refine components before dependencies to other components, prohibit changes. Optimize performance before prototyping, and discover design problems before litigation. Okay, that these all points I will explain. Now, basic steps and phases involved in FEA. So there is main important step. First one is discretization, then selection of approximation of functions, and the other things are not coming under basic. That is a part of syllabus which I am going to take it later. But I wanted to know about FEA first at the start of the semester. So I explain you. So this is kind of these are the things which will have a lot of calculations and which we have to cross check in ANSYS software. So there are phases, that is pre-processing, solution, and post-processing. That also I will tell with the help of practical. If you want, you can go to Digital TAE channel, and one trust analysis is done. That is the name of the video is another video of trust analysis in ANSYS, or any other video you can refer in the same channel which is made by me. So that videos are helpful, will be helpful to you. But currently I am taking I am doing this video for basic purpose. Now, advantages of FEA: can readily handle complex geometry. Yes, if any simple geometry is there like square, cube, we can calculate. But any complex geometry is there, as I explained before, with the help of annotation, that is such a kind of complex geometry, such shape is there and 3D shape is there, so we can't go for it. Next, can handle complex analysis type like vibration, heat transfer, fluids. Yes, I have explained it before. Now, can handle complex loading, node based loading, that is point load. That is point load. Then next one, element based loading, that is pressure, thermal, inertial forces. That is, if any area is there, force is applied on area, then it is called as pressure. What is stress? It is internal resisting force per unit cross sectional area. That is different between stress and pressure. That is, stress is nothing but it's an internal resisting force per unit cross sectional area, and the pressure is nothing but the force applied on the area. Okay, so this is the area where we can apply the pressure or thermal things or inertial forces. Time frequency dependent loading. For particular time, we have to apply the load, we have to release, we have to apply. Cyclic loading also we can apply. Yes, we can go for it. It can handle the complex systems and indeterminate structures can be analyzed. Can handle bodies comprised of non-homogeneous materials. Can handle bodies comprised of non-isotropic materials, isotropic and anisotropic. Yes, it can handle any type of materials. But we have to give, we should know the basics of material. That is, first one is we should know modulus of elasticity, we should know its density, and we should know its Poisson's ratio. These are the basic conditions of material. The next one, special material effects are handled such as temperature dependent properties, plasticity, creep, swelling. Okay, so these special material effects can be also handled. So I will clear this. I will move towards next slide. Disadvantage: a specific numerical result is obtained for a specific problem. Means what? The numerical result which is obtained, that is for specific problem, not it is not for overall condition. The next one, FEM is applied to an approximation of mathematical model of the system. Yes, this is very important point. Everything is in FEA is not exact solution. It is an approximate solution, because we are going to divide the things, we are going to apply the things, but for every geometry, it is not possible to get exact solution. We are getting only approximate solution. That is the main drawback. Then experience and judgment are needed in order to construct a good finite element model. Yes, experience is needed. Without experience, you can't go for a good FEM. Then a powerful computer and reliable FEM software are essential. Yes, software is also needed. As you might be looking for any kind of software from third year or second year, you might not get easily that software. You have to don't go for any kind of pirated software. use only licensed software which we have in our organization. Input and output data may be large and tedious to prepare and interpret. Yes, if as I have told before, Corex example, that input data was very large, and the run was made in LS Dyna, and that run took whole 1 day, and some runs were there for 3 days. Means after 3 days, I came to know the analysis is done, and then I can see the result. If results are wrong, not up to the mark, then I have to again go for analysis. That is the main drawback of FEA. Numerical errors such as limitation of numbers, significant digits, rounding off occur very often. Means that is the manual mistake. Fluid elements with boundaries indefinitely can be computed and treated by using boundary element method. Yes, that is also main drawback. Then next one, software package, that is ANSYS, Nastran, Patran, NISA Display 3, then LSDyna, Hypermesh, Katia, Proe, now it is Creo, SolidWorks, Cosmos. There are FEA packages. There are many more FEA packages, but in this semester we are going to learn only ANSYS. If anybody want, I can go for Hypermesh also. And for that purpose, prerequisite is you should know the Creo software or Katia software. Okay, thank you.